This is an extremely powerful memorization technique that will help you learn anything really fast. I used to be really bad in school. I used to struggle. I used to fail exams all the way up to college until I discovered this technique in a memorization course, and it was a game changer. And since then, well, I'm doing pretty well now. I speak a dozen languages. I've been doing really well professionally in several areas. I can memorize anything super fast, and it's mostly because, well, I develop better habits as well. But it's mostly using this technique. So I'm going to show you how to do it because it's going to be a game changer in language learning, but also if you're studying uh, any kind of science or maths or anything like that. This is going to be helpful if you want to memorize formulas, for example, or lists of items, legal texts, any kind of list with numbers in it. It's going to be really helpful. So, how does it work? What we're going to do is take the numbers that we have to learn. Well, we'll go to the numbers that we have to learn later. Let's learn how to use the numbers first. We're going to associate a sound to each one of the numbers. All right. So one's going to be T or D because it kind of look like it. It looks like a T. Uh, Two will be an N sound. Three will be an M again. Looks like an. If you put it sideways, it looks like an M. Four will be a K sound. Could also be a H like Spanish H or a H. He has, yeah. You see that they're similar sounds. T, D, K, H, B, V. We could add a P sound here as well. So 4 is K, G, H. 5 is L. 6 is S or Z or Fe, like Spanish Fe. 7 is an F. 8 is a Ch. And 9 is B, V, P. And 0 is an R. Right? Normally we put 0 in the end, but put it in the beginning for some reason today. So what we're going to do now is find a word that sounds like this. For me, because I learned this in Spanish, it's the words I use normally are in Spanish for this. But then when you know that when I'm doing mnemonics in general, when I'm doing word to word instead of word to number, because here we're associating words to numbers. Normally, when learning vocab, we do word to word. Yeah. Here, what we'll do is instead of number to word, if we're going to learn the numbers, what we're going to do is what we need to do is turn the numbers into words first and then create association with another word because numbers are not visual. You can't really visualize a number, right? That easily, unless it's a very weird, like a specific number. Uh, so what we'll do is find words. Like for me, this one, R is oro, gold in Spanish. In fact, I'm gonna write them here. Up here, oro. This one is te, which is T. This one is uno o Han or Noah in Spanish. This one's Mao, Chinese dictator. This one is KO or OK. This one is Leo, a guy I know. This one is Oso, in Spanish. You could add several ones. If you're doing it in English, you just don't use my words, by the way, unless you're a Spanish speaker. Use words that okay, you can use T, for example, here, or Han, or Noah, Mao as well, KO, Leo, if you know one. Here, use as or ace, something like that. UFO here, or feo, which is ugly in Spanish. Here, that's axe in Spanish. Again, for English, find something else. And if your native language is another one, then find something else in your native language. And here we use boa or uva, which is grape, the fruit. I mean, so we now just have to visualize them, yeah, and that's it. So when we are when we have to memorize a list of items, like number one is this, number two is that, number three is whatever thing, whatever's first, we visualize that thing with T, whatever association you can create with T. Item number two, we associate with a Han or with Han, Attila the Han, a bunch of Hans, Attila the Han, or Noah, something else with N. Item number three on the list, we're associated with Mao, Mao Zedong. You could also use something else. I sometimes use humo as well, which is smoke in Spanish. KO, whoever's in number four on the list, visualize him getting KO'd. Um, five, Leo, lion, maybe. Visualize it. Ba also for number six. For example, for Japanese, Roku was uh, six is Roku in Japanese. So visualize Dwayne the Rock Johnson getting mauled by a bear. Very easy to visualize. Uh, yeah, I'll just remember that. Yeah, and I won't forget them. Seven UFO F. So whatever is number seven, you visualize them or it getting abducted by UFO or something, or interacting with someone really ugly. Fail that you know. Again, this is what I do. You should use your own words here. All right. Acha, axe. You know what's coming here with whoever's in um, number eight. You get the idea. And then after this first 10 digits, what we'll do is simply combine them. So this is wrong, by the way. This should be TR. Uh, so yeah, 10 is TR, so Toro, Bull, TT, TN, Tuna, TM, Timo, which is scam in Spanish. This is Taco, which is like a, I don't even know how to translate taco. Like a piece of something. Tele, like TV. Yeah, this is TS. So we do that with all of the numbers, and that's it. And what does this look like in when studying? Let's do some examples. So here we've got George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, all the way to good old Joe Biden and Donald Trump and everyone else. So the way we do this is very simple. Let's say we want to memorize a list of all the presidents in U.S. history. What we'll do is simply take T and George Washington. Can you visualize George Washington? Well, let's visualize him like with his, for example, like his hat is instead of his those like 18th century hats that they used to wear, he's wearing a big uh, teapot instead of a hat, for example, or someone spilling tea, like boiling tea on top of him, or something like that. Then Hans or Noah, I have no idea how to visualize John Adams. So instead, what we'll do is find something because I don't know what the guy looks like. So what we'll do is find something Adams, the Adams family, visualize them. John, some John. Uh, okay, John Cena. He is a member of the Adams family. So it's like, well, he's already a weird looking guy. So you just imagine him like a Frankenstein type of thing in the Adams family. And then the Hunts arrive and they just shoot him with a bunch of arrows, for example. Yeah, that works. Mao, Thomas Jefferson. I think I can visualize Thomas Jefferson. If you can't, something that sounds like this. So, what's the bad guy in Aladdin called Jafar? Jafar? Something like that? The guy with the pointy beard. Yeah, I could visualize that. Some kind of Thomas that we know, and then the bad guy from Aladdin, for example. And basically, we keep doing this with the whole thing. If you want to, uh, I'm quite slow today. Sorry, I'm, I'm quite tired. I'm pretty struggling to think. If you want to learn the like when they were in the office in office as well, I think that's it, right? Yeah, 17, 21. Yeah. So if we want to learn when they were in office as well, that's going to take more work with mnemonics, but you can also do it. So instead of just what we just did, we do that plus mnemonics for all of this. So what we do is, okay, what's 17? TF, and this is H, this is B, and then again T, F, B, F. Yeah, so it'd be something like T, F, H, B, T, F, B, F. Although we can be flexible with the B's, and it could be DF. And yeah, we find words, two words for this, two words for this, and we create the whole image. Like the George Washington with a teapot, and then all of this. And you just keep doing that. This obviously is going to be time consuming. I'm not going to do this with the whole thing because I'm not going to memorize them because honestly, I just don't care. I just wanted to show you how you can how you can memorize this kind of content, which is like how do you because otherwise, what's the logic on unless you know the history of those presidents really well? There's no way of knowing. Okay, this guy was after this guy, and yeah, I knew Taft was after Roosevelt, for example, because I've read about Roosevelt. But like if you look at this, like Polk, never heard of him. Buchanan, never. Yeah, wasn't Pat Buchanan a guy as well? But anyway, yeah. So you do it with the whole thing. If you have to study for things and you're not particularly knowledgeable on that topic, this is what you should do to memorize all this raw data, like all those numbers. Uh, Relatively fast and efficiently. You should review it afterwards, but if you do this once, you probably remember a lot. Then you just review it. This is another example. Okay, I mean the Bill of Rights, all the amendments, the U.S. Easy. Like for this kind of thing, if there's a text, then we have to be a little bit more creative. So again, T1, Han or Noah, to Mao, Mao and U.S. Constitution are a pretty weird combination, but yeah. So we've got the numbers from earlier, and then we have to, and you can also create a mnemonic for this. So this would be T F B T, and then we create an association between this and this. So this kind of stuff, it's much better to use your own words for this. So guarantees freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. So once you've got so instead of doing that, you think of okay, First Amendment, so T, and then another mnemonic for this, if you want to, maybe not, if you don't need to know the date, but T, and then let's visualize what's your image for religion, and then another one for someone talking, giving a speech, and then press, some presses, printing, assembly, like a bunch of people, in an assembly, and petition. Like you can like a request. You can visualize, create an image of each one of those, and visualize the boiling teapot just pouring tea on whatever images you visualize for all those things, and make it really vivid. And the next one should be, let's a few. Number two is Han or Noah. We just use Han, so let's use Noah. Right to keep and bear arms. To bear arms, so we visualize Noah and his huge boat, and, and from behind him, some bear arms appear because there were animals in the boat, and some huge arms, some bear's arms trying to attack him. But Noah is a huge fan of the Second Amendment. He's from Texas, and he's got an AR-15 and just shoots the bear. Yeah, can you visualize it? I mean, everyone knows the Second Amendment, so you know you knew it anyway. But yeah, it's just an example. Let's look at the third. This one was Mao prohibits the forced quartering of soldiers in private homes during peacetime. Yeah, just by the way, this is from the 17th. Yeah, in the 50s and 60s, Spanish government was still doing that, putting army people in people's private homes because they needed to stay there. Anyway, um, yeah. So imagine just they knock Mao knocks your door and whatever place you live in, like your home, and a bunch of soldiers, like military, he brings out a bunch of soldiers and just like take over and start living in your place. Yeah, force quartering of soldiers in private homes during peacetime. Oh, I guess during wartime it's not a. So for this, you could have some like they do that, and then but then there's some for peacetime you can like the hippie peace symbol. You could use that. You bring one of those, and they have to leave. For example, visualize it. Fourth Amendment. Number four was for KO. Protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. So the police, I mean, I'm gonna get banned for this, but the police either enter your home or stop you, and they just start like really aggressively searching you, and you KO them. Uh, and turns out that was your right because they were unreasonably searching you and seizing your stuff. You see, again, for all of this, you should explain it, say it while you're doing it, and then also create a mental image, visualize it, and put yourself in the situation. Yeah, the more vivid it is and the more detailed, the more likely you are to remember it. And this is how you memorize all this stuff pretty easily. Again, I don't need to memorize all of this, so I'm not going to continue. But this is how it works, and you should be doing this for numbers in a foreign language if you learn a foreign language, but also list of items if you're studying. For example, here in Spain, if you want to be a friend of mine is becoming is studying to become a firefighter, and if you want to become a firefighter or a cop or something like that, apart from the physical tests and all that, you need to pass a bunch of like, well, physics and math formulas, and some legal stuff as well, the geography as well, a lot of things like that. And for all of that, if you're studying for anything like that, this technique will allow you to memorize large amounts of numbers very quickly, or or numbers associated to words as well. Yeah. So what's the height of a bunch of mountains, for example? He has to study that, I think. The name of the mountain, and then associate that with the numbers, and then create the mnemonic with the number. And that's it. Thanks for that. That's how this works. I highly recommend you start doing this daily with whatever. If you don't need to learn anything, just start memorizing whatever. But the moment you need it, I mean, you should always be learning stuff in general, right? Someone who's always learning, someone who stops learning at 20 when they leave school or college or whatever, uh, versus someone who's been after that learning consistently learning new skills over and over the whole time. When they reach 30, the person who's been learning constantly will have such an advantage in so many things. So it's really important to continue learning always, just getting more educated in general, learning about everything, but especially the useful skills that you need, or acquiring qualifications if you have a career and whatever field you're at. So yeah, always be learning things. And this technique, the more you practice, the better you get at it, and the easier studying will get. Trust me, I used to suck at studying. I've got ADHD. I was really bad. I was always struggling. I thought I wouldn't be able to have even the most basic job when I was like 20. And now after learning this, I mean, there was a bunch of other stuff going on as well, but uh, yeah, I got more disciplined and all that, better habits and all that as well. But this technique is mostly responsible for taking me from failure in school basically to uh, relatively successful. I've got my own business. I speak a dozen languages. I've got a couple of master's degrees. Yeah, I'm doing fine now. So it's mostly thanks to this technique. So if you, especially if you're a bad student, I highly, even if you're a good student, you'll be an even better one with this. If you're in medical school, or if you're in uh, whatever place, like people like if you're in medical school or something like that, or you're studying, I don't know, computer science or anything like that. If you want me to do this, the same, like, to show you how to do these techniques for specific things, like just send me the formula, send me the stuff, and I'll give you a quick. I don't need to learn all that. I'll give you a quick demonstration on how to use it. If you're a good student, this will make you a way better student. So you'll get an unfair advantage. And if you're a bad student, like I used to be, you'll become way better than most people at learning things anyway. So I highly recommend you learn, like you start practicing this skill and you get good at it as soon as possible, right?